let's talk about Pokemania. Ooh, let's do it.
Pokemon, the journey's just begun. Pokemon, more the better. Pokemon, Team Rocket's on the run. Pokemon, we're friends forever. You've got the power right in your hand. They'll evolve before your eyes. A world of magic at your command. You can be a master if you try. Pokemon!
As someone who lived through Pokemania, I can tell you that the hype was very real.
I get this episode today, Pokemon Friends, and it's about abused Pokemon that aren't treated well by their trainers. Because in the Pokemon world, in the age of 10, you get to be able to go to Pokemon school and be given a beginner Pokemon to go out with and capture other Pokemon.
Now, okay,
but some kids are, wait, I gotta tell you, but some kids are bad and treat their Pokemon bad and they're abused. This is a great episode about abused characters that have to go to a special resort to get better and meet better kids to grow with.
Now, the next question concerns how long this is going to be around.
It was explosive, it comes onto the scene, it's amazing, it's these brand new games that everyone could be playing at the same time. You don't need a TV screen to do it, you can play it while watching TV. People were getting Game Boys just to play it. And the hype was real. The hype was coming from Nintendo Power, was doing a lot of solicitations, had that extra Pokemon guide in it, letting you know this is new game coming, like well ahead of the games coming out. And then the anime comes out, and it's very similar to the game. The structure of the anime, where Ash gets his first Pokemon, there's the battling, there's the catching. There hadn't been very many adaptations of video games that were similar to the game, you know? Like the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, the Mario cartoon. They kind of do their own thing, taking elements from, whereas Ash in Pokemon is going around doing the beats in the story of the game, which you hadn't played yet. So when the game comes out, it's like, oh my god, you had all this familiarity, you knew exactly what was going on, you knew that Electric was bad on ground, you knew you got to get a water type to beat Onix, and it just was... That's why it mounted. It just was this perfect storm. I think the world was really ready for everyone to be on board with Pokemania. And then, after a couple years, it died. Why did Red and Blue sell so well? And there were these crazy numbers for the movie, and then of course another movie and another movie. But then, what happened? Like, well, I always see Pokemon people talk about Pokemon, and they tend to focus on Pokemon. Well, it didn't exist in a vacuum. 1999, 2000, 2001, there's a lot going on in the world, especially in media and video games, anime, TV shows. So, with that, I want to go over all of the other things that were going on in the landscape and in the response to Pokemania that made Pokemon kind of dwindle down and not be such a big top explosive thing.
More than a game.
Anybody know how to play this? How to get to the next level?
Or a top-rated TV show, Pokemon is an undeniable obsession with children across the country.
So after Pokemon was a big hit, within a year, over in the West, the US and European countries, the next year, there's even more monsters. Because by then, in 1999, you've got the Digimon anime, you've got Monster Rancher, and they do these full seasons. They've got video games and other collectibles connected to them. So it's really competitive. Like, do you want Agumon? Do you want Suizo, Golem, Garurumon, like all these things? There's little virtual pets, the CDs for Monster Rancher, which is a PlayStation game, not portable. but just toys, TV shows, games, all these other things. And that wasn't, of course, all that was going on. There's all these other things that were normally going on. Batman, Spider-Man. But they were starting to dwindle. It is important to note that there were other animes. I don't want to say like Pokemon made anime mainstream. Sailor Moon did a really good job of getting people, acclimated to that kind of style of animation and the dubbing, that kind of style. Dragon Ball Z, these were big things. And then, of course, they got bigger because suddenly anime in the West was cool. People kind of got it. They got the humor, they got the things connected to it. But it also meant you didn't have to make new shows. Why would you spend millions of dollars on making a new Batman cartoon? You could just grab an anime, dub the voices, do some rewriting, do whatever edits you need to do. Much cheaper production. It's selling toys as well. It's working out for everybody. But a big driving force of Pokemon was the anime. And those first 80 or so episodes of Pokemon had pretty solid beats of Ash traveling around the world you knew in the game, going to cities, a lot of made up cities. They're all made up, none of them are real, but a lot of anime only cities, a lot of anime only characters. But every now and then you'd meet a gym leader, and you go, "Oh right, I did that gym. I remember going to fight Koga, the poison guy, or I might remember going to the island to fight the fire guy." Like things like that happen, and they're pretty similar. The way it kind of translated the game into the anime, you're very familiar with the process. But then Gold and Silver, it's not really doing that at the same pace. Gold and Silver is a shorter game. It really is. The journey through Johto, it's pretty quick. So when you're translating to the anime, it takes longer. And then at this point, people are watching other shows too. You've got Season 2 of Digimon, comes out in 2000. And that's a sequel to Season 1. Characters are, coming back over. Some of them are older. And you've got Monster Rancher, another cartoon going. Ash still only has like 4 badges or something at the end of one season. Like, it's taking so much longer. You're getting closure on Digimon. Like, Season 1 and 2 are ending, and you've seen so many monsters and different story arcs and villains and things coming to an end, and Pokemon is still just meandering around in Johto longer and longer and longer. And then in 2001, you're getting Season 3 of Digimon, which is kind of being meta in that it's what if it was the real world and Digimon were fake and started coming into the real world, because monster things were so popular. It's just like, let's do a bend on that. And you got Yu-Gi-Oh! More collectibles, more anime tropes. It's time to duel. And again, it's competitive. What's keeping people focused on Pokemon? In the first 80 or so episodes of Pokemon, you see pretty much all 150 Pokemon. Like, just about. They all appear in the anime, in that chunk. In the first 80 or so episodes of the Johto journeys, like the ones based on Gold and Silver, the first 80 episodes, you only see about 50 of the new Pokemon. Like, what? It's just all of the old 150, and then the same 50 new ones. The other 50 don't get seen until they're delved out, like, throughout later in the seasons. And again, it's 2 years. 2 years. It takes 3 whole years for Ash to get to the Silver Conference, whatever, the Indigo Plateau of the anime, in where they do the tournaments. By that point, all of Dragon Ball Z had been dubbed, like throughout 99 to 2000. That you could have seen Goku fight Frieza, beat Frieza, Gohan fight Cell. You've seen the whole Buu saga. You've seen the ending of Dragon Ball Z through in that span of time. And Ash still hadn't fought Gary Oak. All of this stuff happens in the years that people are like watching, all the media, all that happens, and that's how long, it's such an iconic thing. You think about all the fights and moments and people, it's like, why does no one talk about Ash vs. Gary? I'm like, because they checked out. It happened in 2003. Pokemania was like in 1999. It's, 4 years later, I'm like, okay, it's just not soon enough. It just didn't get there quick enough. Why is Johto so padded? They didn't think to do what most animes do now, which is because usually they're based on a manga. Like Dragon Ball Z has these arcs, they get these closures, is they should have done actual story arcs and then done the filler. Instead, it's just all this long, continuous story with, filler throughout. I guess if you don't like the journey, it's, maybe it's the friends we made along the way. But you get to see Cell beaten in Dragon Ball Z. You get to see Yugi beat Pegasus. The long drawn out rivalry, it didn't build to it. It just kind of happened, and then it just kind of moved along, because then the Game Boy Advance games came out.
I won the first match in the championship tournament!
A lot of this comes from the memory of people as a kid too, and there's always so much going on. There's so many cartoons and video games trying for your attention, trying for your dollars to be the product you want to buy, and it was a very different landscape in 99, 2000, 2001. You had the PlayStation 2 era, like that was really up and coming, and Xbox. So you got more adult-oriented games coming along, like Halo, Grand Theft Auto. And it's like, right, if you're really into RPG, Pokemon, like those weren't really for you, but that's where we're at, is you're going from, maybe you're into video games now, or the gateway, if Pokemon got you into it playing, but then that's what everyone else is doing now. Everyone else is doing the more violent, adult style shooter kind of games, but they also were really compelling games versus just the sort of screen text of Pokemon battling, which is a lot more casual of a game. And then also, if you were into RPGs, if Pokemon was your gateway into RPGs, and you were like, well, what's this PlayStation about? There were so many RPGs on PlayStation. It could be a gateway into Final Fantasy, Grandia, the Persona. There's just so much. It just keeps going. Like, if you became more of a gamer after Pokemon. I just don't really think Gold and Silver elevated things enough. There wasn't enough hype, and a lot of it, I think, really, I'll put the emphasis on, it's the new Pokemon. Because the game itself, I think, is a good game. I'm not sitting here going to be like, oh, Gold and Silver sucks, it's a bad game. Like, Gold and Silver is a fine, fun game. I do think the day of the week and the night day thing can be kind of cumbersome, but there was a real quaintness and a charm to it, and I think it really led to games like Animal Crossing becoming a thing. But I think the biggest draw for Pokemon has always been the monsters, the Pokemon. So when you have other series that are pretty much constantly throwing new stuff out, and they're using the B-roll, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Uses the Thousand Dragon a lot, and Karibo a lot. You're going to see Greymon Digivolve a lot, Metal Greymon, and it's the same clips, but they're always fighting new monsters. It's a lot of new, constant new thing, and rotating through. I mean, there's 8 lines and Digimon lines, because there's Goblin, Greymon, and they have all their evolutions, and there's 150 Pokemon. Like, you do the math here, it's like, yeah, it's all these things all the time. But you just don't see the new Pokemon. Only half of them appearing in the first 80 episodes. Half of the new Pokemon. It's like, there's only 100 new ones, and it's just, you're just clearly milking it so hard. Whereas I think it's like, give people what they want. What they wanted was, they wanted to see the new Pokemon. And the anime was the driving force for it. It wasn't doing. And the games, Gold and Silver also, a lot of the new Pokemon aren't even accessible. You got ones that are babies, so it means you have to breed them to get them. And like, well, what does that do? It's just a younger version of them, and they don't have anything really going for them in the gameplay. Might have been interesting if they had like a really crazy high stat, and like it lost that stat. Like, what if Pichu was faster than Raichu? That could have been interesting. Not there. The big get, I think, is Dark type and Steel type. That's a sell. That's such a selling point. Imagine if Normal type was the new type. Like, that's not a selling. Oh, there's this new type, Flying type. Dark and Steel are exciting. They hit that sort of cool factor, and not every Pokemon needs to be like cool, like and badass, and like teeth and stabby blades or whatever. You know, there is room for all kinds, and I'm fairly confident that every Pokemon is someone's favorite Pokemon. And I don't want to like harp on things, but a lot of the, well, I don't want to say a lot, but there's a good chunks. There's these slices of the new Pokemon and the Johto Pokemon, the Johto Gold Silver Pokemon. I do this a lot too, rabbit ears. Anyway, it just looks a lot like they aren't as inventive as they could have been, like Stantler and Quillfish. I'm like, well, they just look like animals without any other things going on with them. Like, well, what about adding fire to things like Ponyta? Oh, it's just a horse. Like, it's a horse, but it's on fire. Slugma, it's like, right, it's like a slug, but it's a fire slug. Or I think Sudowoodo is a great Pokemon. Sudowoodo is my favorite Pokemon, and it looks like a tree. It looks like it could be grass type, but it's petrified wood. Like, that's a great spin. That's a great twist on what it could be. There's ones I think are obviously standoutish and cool. Scizor, Houndoom, Umbreon, Espeon. I think some aren't as obviously cool, but I think they're really neat, great additions. Fortress, I think Heracross. There's some, but then you get into ones that are just like Blissey. Blissey's like fine, but it's just an evolution of Chansey, so it's just Chansey 2, basically. Kingdra. Like, oh, there's finally a new dragon Pokemon, and it's Kingdra. Finally, another ghost Pokemon. You don't get it till after you've beaten the game. You don't get Houndour, Slugma, Murkrow, Tyranitar. You have to be able to trade and use the Steel Coat to get Scizor Steelix. Skarmory's only in one version. So the accessibility for the sort of cool Pokemon, not really there. And then the other ones, it's just, Miltank. Miltank's neat and fun, but don't have a cow, man. And just all of these other animes and things, they're kind of giving you what they want. So like Monster Rancher, it came and went. Digimon also kind of came and went. Pokemon eventually wins. It kind of wins the long battle. But I think at the time, this is why the hype dwindled. There's a certain structure to things that after a year or 2 years, how far you want to have sort of seen and gotten, what kind of progress you want to see characters have, and then also in the video game, where you want to be able to get to. I'm sure there's lots of people that were really into Pokemon Red and Blue. They sit down, they're playing Gold and Silver, they're looking for a new Pokemon, and they just don't really find that many. And it's just disappointing for them. That they're like, well, where are these new types? Is there new ghost types? Is there new dragon types? And it's like, really, there's not.
Shall we take him? Let's go!
There was so much going on media-wise at that time. Saban lost their deal with Marvel. That's a whole thing. But it's interesting to talk about Silver Surfer, because I remember there's promos you can find like Silver Surfer and Hank Hill, because Fox had, that's just the thing they crossed over. That's the kind of stuff they did. There were kind of, I don't know, kind of shows like you call them, like coming of age tween shows like Doug and Pepper Ann and Angela Anaconda. It's probably too funny, like people are probably so forgotten about some of those shows. But Angela Anaconda is one of those shows that's kind of stayed somewhat relevant because they used it to promote Digimon. It's like part of the Digimon lore, Fox Kids wise, because they like to do these crossover things, and they didn't have any other show that they could do that with. It became such a sort of platform show for them because they could do that kind of stuff. And those kind of shows still would come and go, but that's what was being made ahead of and before Pokemon. And the superhero stuff was coming and going. Batman, Superman, the budget for them, I guess, dwindling ahead of, WB just leaning into Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And any other anime they got for a while, Card Captors. And Fox also started getting very competitive. ABC pretty much died, like ABC Saturday morning cartoons pretty much went away because of Pokemon, Digimon, the cheapness of adapting anime, and ABC didn't do that. They had to deal with Disney, and that was the landscape. Movies, movies were doing different things. You had Star Wars was back in episode 2, Spider-Man, Harry Potter movies, Lord of the Rings movies, the Matrix sequels. Things were kind of stepping into a completely different territory. Fantasy and somewhat edgy sort of coolness factor. You kind of had different kind of things there. I guess it's like your fairy type magic. I don't know. There's no magic type. Fairy type versus like steel type. I don't know. Like which do you like? Which I think Pokemon was good at trying to have those options, but I don't think Gold and Silver was like enough, like oomph, like it wasn't there as far as like where the sort of flashbang society. It's a very quiet setting, and 40, 80, however many episodes of just the same thing. It's so crazy to me to think they never even have Karen or Will ever appear in the anime. Not Karen and Will from like Will and Grace. I mean like of the Elite Four, because it takes them so long to get there. I'm blown away that they didn't lean into that more and like get to the Silver Conference much sooner, cut out so much of the stuff. And yeah, use the Elite Four. Like they're very ambiguous of what they are and what they do in the anime, whereas the video games like the four you have to fight, and I think characters like that were interesting and great and cool in the video game, where you're like, oh, there's new Elite Four. Interesting. Okay, like Bruno's still here. What happened to the Ghost Trainer? What happened to Laura Lee? What happened? It's like, well, there's different ones now. You got ones that'll never show. Of all the milking and padding they did, I cannot believe they didn't add. I think maybe they just had to get to the Game Boy Advance games. So it's like it's done. It's so strange to me to build all the way to the tournament and then like you end, and it goes right into the new series. It's like there's no breathing room. That's where you do your filler. Is like you build to that a year sooner, and then you do a filler year, and that's the model Pokemon's made. It's worked for them. I'm not trying to criticize too much, but it's more if you're an outsider, if you weren't constantly in with Pokemon and every latest thing that's going on, and you were checking out all this other stuff, because that's what I did. I was very anthology in my brain, but I never did leave the Pokemon fandom. Like I did play Gold, I got Crystal, I got Ruby, I got Fire. It was always come and go. Like it was always there. It's always nice that it's there. They did eventually win this sort of monster battling, but I still can't believe that they didn't think to lock into like a 2-year sort of structure for Ash's journey, then like a year of filler and other things. Like he could have gone back to Kanto. I can't believe they didn't do that in the anime, where he goes back. You could get to circle back to all the gym leaders again, and then he goes to Hoenn. That's what I would have. It's obvious the structure there for me. I don't know. Should I mention the GS Ball? Should I even mention the GS Ball? Is that... How about the GS Ball? Do you remember that? Yeah. We hope kids will forget about the GS Ball, this like really super important ball that Ash was supposed to like bring to Kurt, who in the game as being an expert of balls, Pokeballs, and whoops, I guess the movie took Celebi, so we can't like use that in the anime now as like an arc. Whoops. You gotta deliver. You have to deliver and fulfill things. Setting things up and not delivering, like this is what kills hype. Like, and that's what the Marvel movies, I think, they keep setting things up. Like currently the Marvel Avengers, like set up this, set up that, set up that, and it's like you're not paying off. And people can only invest so much time and energy into something before it's like, well, this isn't for me anymore. And I think, man, the momentum of Pokemon, it's sad because it is cool and fun. You know, I do really like Pokemon. But I also wish it was more successful. I wish Gold and Silver was more interesting. I mean, there was so much hype around Lugia, and what is this? And it ends up just being a psychic flying Pokemon. It's like, right, flying's not that interesting. Psychic, like, yeah, you had a lot of those. Like, you already have like this super powerful psychic type, Mewtwo, and Ho-Oh, which was hyped from the beginning episode. Fire flying, it's like, right, there's Moltres. I'm really glad that Pokemon has since gotten away from it looks like it has wings, so it must be flying type. Like Venomoth, like hello, from the first one. Bug poison, just because it looks like it flies, doesn't need to be flying. I think Lugia should have been completely different type. It hangs out with these birds, it hangs out in water. Yeah, water flying is just Gyarados again, but even still, I think that fits more in line. It could have been dark water. Ho could have been psychic fire. Like, then you're doing type combos that you don't have, they're unique. Or even just make Ho regular fire, or, you know, anything that's getting away from their birds, so they have to be flying type. You can give them the move fly, you can give them some flying moves. I think it's, such a disappointment. And I mean, it's a Phoenix, right? Like, and it doesn't feel like a Phoenix though. It doesn't feel like, you know, Lugia doesn't feel as powerful as much as they tried to make it cool. Like, Lugia is one of those Pokemon that I feel suffers from the corporate coolness. Pokemon X, like, there's so much about it that was supposed to be cool, and then it's just not there. Like, Mewtwo, I think, was kind of in the same vein. Like, it's supposed to be cool. Like, it's this final Pokemon you find in this dungeon, and it's an experiment, and it's psychic, all that looks weird. And it worked, but Ho and Lugia, I'm like, just not, and they're like kind of the title Pokemon. Maybe we'll just play Beyblade instead. Get some Beyblades out, rip your Beyblade cord. It's just crazy to me to think about how much happened in media, in video games, and then the Pokemon anime didn't deliver, and Gold and Silver just, yeah, they felt like expansions. They were fun expansions. But, man, you gotta find a King's Rock to get Politoed, or to get Slowking, who's like the same as Slowbro? Like, what's the point of Slowking? What's the point of Slowking? I'm not trying to hate on Slowking. No, I am trying to hate on. I'm trying to like Slowking. I'm not trying to hate on. I am hating on Slowking. I'm trying to be like, what's Slowbro's right there. Like, I get when you do cross evolution. It's just they didn't deliver. They didn't deliver, and people knew, and people moved on, and I guess this follow-upness after I was so into Red and Blue, the Gold and Silver and Crystal. Like, I was really into them. I really was. But it didn't feel like there was really, like, I don't want to say more, because there was more, but it just didn't feel like it. And I think a lot of people had that sense. The people that stopped playing Pokemon just had that sense of like, oh, okay, I guess that's what this is now. It's riding around back and forth for forever to hatch an egg. It's boring. It just is. I didn't write closing thoughts. I think closing thoughts, though, really just... They kind of got it a little bit more right with Crystal, with having the battle tower. Because the one thing the anime I think that did that is interesting, that Monster Rancher had, that Yu-Gi-Oh had, it's tournaments. There's no tournaments in the video game. It's not a bracket, it's not endless tough trainers, it's you fight these iconic people that don't appear in the anime, that Will don't appear. And Monster Rancher felt like that. You're working your way up, and like your credibility, and Yu-Gi-Oh! He's like the king of games. And Pokemon in the anime felt like that. Like Ash is trying really hard to be the very best. Like no one ever was. That's going to come in the audio. That's okay. It's fine. Losing track of where I was. But yeah, it's a game. Crystal's a game that never ends because you can just be in the battle tower forever and try to get stuff for forever. And I think that is what made Pokemon really cool. Like Ruby and Sapphire, like have the battle tower. Like all these improvements that they started to make, like they made the world feel like a world of Pokemon and battling. It just took too long to get there. Like they're still in. It's funny to me that Dragon Ball Z gets ripped on. Like they're still on Planet Namek. They're still on Namek. Like Ash was in Johto for like forever. Like 3 years. He still only has 4 badges. The Steel type gym still won't fight him. Yeah. I'm glad Pokemon has succeeded. I wish it succeeded more. I'm glad they've made cool, fun, interesting Pokemon. I think, though, that people were right to not feel connected and to feel a little disappointed and cheated by playing Gold and Silver and then watching the anime. It's fair. I think these are very fair criticisms of people that aren't fans. This is why they're not fans. Like, if you're a fan and you love it no matter what, which I've never wanted to be that. I didn't play Diamond and Pearl. I waited till Platinum came out. Like, I've always kind of stepped back and step back in when it feels appropriate. So if you're a fan, it's like, great. This video isn't really necessarily for fans. I know it's probably going to be full of people that are going to be saying all kinds of things about it. If you're a fan and you love it, that's exactly fine. It's working for you. But I'm trying to talk, like, why it didn't work for some people. This is why some people were like, oh, okay. And not necessarily even being critical. Like, people will tend to be critical when they love something. Like, well, I wish this, I wish that, you know. They just start playing PlayStation 2 or Xbox because it's more in line with what they wanted, or Duel Masters, or I don't even know what other monster RPG, Dragon Warrior Monsters, Dragon Quest, yeah. Because it fit what they wanted. It gave them what they wanted. Like, you want a cool, fun, badass metal thing, evil, dark thing. Ooh, I want a psychic type that does cool stuff. I don't want a psychic giraffe. I actually like Giraffary, but I'm just saying, I get it. And I think that's makes sense. Just makes sense that if you faded away, that's why you faded away. But they fixed it in Gen 3. They really did. Like, you want Dark type? Here's one right in the beginning. Mightyena, Poochyena, whatever, right in the start. We know we made them hard to find in the other game. Here's one right away. Here's a Dark type. It's almost like, sorry, here you go. Here's some free breadsticks.
Gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all.
Remember, it's about strategy.
Gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all.
Remember, you gotta catch 'em all.
Gotta catch 'em all. Pokemon